Good morning, members of the media, and welcome to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Weekly Media Brief. I am Michael Pierre, Acting Assistant Superintendent, and our brief today will be extended. Firstly, we will be having our Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith, who will address pertinent issues that the media should be aware of. And also we will have members of the Central Division who will account for activities in that division. So firstly, I'd like to ask Mr. Griffith to address you at this time.
Thank you very much. Members of the media, good morning to you. There's three quick points I'd just like to take this opportunity to bring to the attention of the media and through the media to the general public. This morning there was an incident that was brought to my attention pertaining to a search conducted at the home of a lady who seemed to be is reported that she was the housekeeper of a person who may have been arrested a few days ago. I was not made aware of this search. Neither was the head of the Southern Division at this time. It does not mean that it was warranted or not. I have to conduct an investigation. I give the assurance to the public that at no time would the police be involved in any operation based on race, politics, or religion. If any police officer would take advantage of his authority, he will be dealt with by the Commissioner of Police and the PSP and also the Police Complaint Authority. But before it is that we judge anyone at this time, I expect a report before 1 p.m. today to verify exactly what transpired to cause that search being conducted. A second matter I'd like to bring to the attention of the public. It has to do with the recent raid or the searches that took place in a certain area in San Fernando a few days ago. Ladies and gentlemen, there are about 35,000 searches / warrants that are usually conducted on an annual basis in Trinidad and Tobago. I have never heard similar concerns on the other 34,993 homes that were searched for the year. It doesn't mean that because of that, the police will just decide to automatically search any home without any justification. There would be grounds that the police can actually go into premises based on specific purposes, if it is a life or death situation, kidnapping, or in hot pursuit of an individual. I wish also to state that the individuals with the homes that in Gulf City, in La Romaine, I do apologize for the inconvenience caused. I wish to give the assurance to the public that none of the individuals of any of these homes are persons of interest. However, this matter is still ongoing, and I will give the assurance, I could put my head on a block, that most of those persons in those same homes who were affected, if what the police did through that special operation response team, if based on the intelligence, had this been conducted to look after the well-being of your loved ones in any of those homes in another area, you would have agreed to us doing what is required. That is all I can say for now. But I give the assurance that that had nothing to do with race, religion, or politics. It had to do with a situation that could have dealt with a life and death situation. And that is how the police would operate. The final matter that I would just like to deal with has to do with this conversation that has been going on for the last few weeks pertaining to the incident in Big Yard, Caranage. I wish to take this opportunity to express my condolences to the law-abiding citizens who lost their lives in the crossfire last Friday in Big Yard, Caranage. I also wish a speedy recovery to the police officer who was also injured in the line of duty. It is no secret that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, in its delivery of safety and security to citizens of this country, we have been battling different criminal gangs in different parts of our country. And in our continued trust for continued safety, every division has been targeting criminal gangs and their members. We are aware of what is happening. It is a war out there. As we deal specifically now with that situation in Caranage, it has become the norm now by certain gang members where they feel that a certain area, a certain turf, certain community belongs to them. And this is where it is. We have situations now where when an unmarked vehicle will enter a certain area in different parts of the country, they are actually firing shots at individuals. Just a few days ago, another police officer, she was driving and she went in an area, and a notorious gang leader, they were not aware of that vehicle and they started firing shots at her. That is what is happening in this country. So the concern that people are having, but the police officers being on patrols in unmarked vehicles, Well, to those persons who are concerned, I intend to rent 50 more vehicles, unmarked vehicles, and we intend to flood these areas now because no area, no street, no community, no block belongs to any criminal element. And that is what has happened in Big Yard, Caranage, where these individuals, they saw an unmarked vehicle and they decided to fire. I want to actually clarify a matter as well. I have noted the great concern by certain members in Big Yard, Caranage, based on the shooting incident. But you know what is very strange is for the last several months, there have been several shootings in that same area. Gang members have shot at gang members. Gang members have killed gang members in Big Yard. But there was never a roadblock. There was never a protest. There was never an objection. So it seems that some persons in certain areas, it is okay for a gang member to kill a gang member and nobody will see anything or nobody will be concerned. But when police officers are involved in a firefight with gang members, it becomes a concern. I also wish to clarify another matter. We are hearing a lot of talk about the police being at fault and the police being culpable for what took place. But no one has mentioned the fact that a police officer was shot during this firefight. No one is mentioning the fact that a police officer, his life was saved because he had a bulletproof vest. No one is mentioning the fact that the police officer probably fired his shot to save his own life after he was shot at. The fact of the matter is that over 99% of occasions when someone has a bulletproof vest and the other person does not have a bulletproof vest and there's a firefight between the two individuals, and I will ask the public to think about it. With the two who will be the person to shoot first? If I have a bulletproof vest and I fire at someone first, that individual will have rocked back. He will not have the capacity to have an accurate shot to hit the police officer on his chest with the bulletproof vest. However, if someone has a bulletproof vest and you shoot at the person with the bulletproof vest, he may still have the mental capacity to have an aimed shot, an accurate fire. So let the public decide who fired first, who drew first blood. The fact of the matter is that a police officer was shot in the line of duty. That means that there was an illegal firearm. That means that someone broke the law. That means that someone shot at a police officer. That means someone hit a police officer. That means someone wanted to kill a police officer. And we are all trying to demonize the police service based on perception of a few individuals who have their own agenda. The individuals who were shot at, we have all intelligence that certain individuals were notorious gang members and gang leaders that have been involved in many situations of criminal activity in Caranage over the last few years. The fact of the matter is that the police, we are not here to bully ourselves. We are not here to abuse our authority. But nowhere in this country would any criminal element feel that they have authority to hold a block. And then if police officers come out in an unmarked vehicle, you feel you have the right to fire at police officers. We did not draw first blood. And I'd like the final point, which is more important than anything else. A young lady was killed because of this firefight. I'd like to draw attention to a situation where, even in a newspaper article, they placed one shot. We knew exactly what they were alluding to. So automatically, everyone automatically saw it fit that the police officer was the one who fired the shot and hit the young lady. I will not just draw to your attention based on the investigation. And that's why many persons' perception becomes reality. Well, let us look at perception. I will draw to your attention to the screen now, please. This here, if you look along, that's Western Main Road. The police officer went up Big Yard. Along Big Yard, the car, if you point at the car is where the police officer would have been. That is the police vehicle, unmarked vehicle. The X, the higher up X above, that is the way it is that the individuals fired at the police officer. The X below is where the young lady was. I bring it to the attention of the public now to you decide. Look at where the police vehicle was. Point again, please. The police vehicle. Where would he have fired? Up north, towards the X on top. The X on top is who they shot at. The X on top. Point at the X on top again, please. They fired towards the police vehicle. What is behind the police vehicle? The young lady. Ladies and gentlemen, at times we must get the facts first before we let perception become reality. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. I have to leave shortly. Any questions from the media before you say I walked out? Okay, I really have to leave because I have a meeting to attend. Yes.
Alexander from TTT. Just wanted to find out, is the police providing any probably counseling for the family?
Yes, that has already commenced. That goes part of our standard operational procedure.
And are there any truth to the rumor, or could you clarify the rumor going around that some of the police may be involved with some of the members of the community of Bigad?
Well, again, the fact of the matter is that anyone who has the easiest thing to do is to demonize and blame the police service. The police service is not perfect. There will always be rogue elements in the police service, but we always keep talking about rogue elements in the police service. It becomes a road march. We're not speaking about rogue elements in politicians, members of the media, members of the business community. Why is it always rogue elements in the police service? This seems to be like a one-line road march. We're always talking about rogue elements in the police service. Are there rogue elements in the media? Possible. Or politicians? But we always focus on the police service. These officers go out there every day and they put their lives on the line. And all we try to find and talk about is rogue elements in the police service. As you all would have seen over the last few months, we are doing everything possible to weed out the rogue elements, whether it is that they've been involved in kidnapping, gang activity, drugs, and we are doing it. And it shows that we are showing a degree of transparency, a degree of accountability, and making sure that police officers are aware that there are consequences. So if at any time people try to pass the buck and blame police officers or state that they are rogue elements, well then bring it to our attention. Give us the evidence, give us the information, and I promise you we will deal with it, because we do not want rogue elements in the police service. What we do know is that there are rogue elements in Big Yard. What we do know is that gang members have been killing gang members, and police officers were not involved when they kill each other. But there was no protesting, blocking roads or anything like that. Why is it so it's okay for certain individuals? One gang member kills another gang member on several occasions this month in Big Yard. There was never a complaint. There was never a concern. But the police officer got involved, and we automatically label him as police officers as rogue elements. A bullet hit the chest of my police officer, and he fired back. How does that make him a rogue element? An individual, that whole firefight took place because that individual, as the initial reports will show, is that they fired first. Because had the police officer fired first on the individual, he would not have the capacity to have fired back at the police officer. So they drew first blood, they fired first, and look at where the police vehicle is to where it is the individual was. And look at where the young lady was. And I ask you all now to decide and make your own opinion.
Okay, good morning, Commissioner Otto Carrington, CNC3. I know that the police service has been talking about the body cameras. I know that some officers, when could we see more officers rolling out using these initiatives? Because like an instance like this, it can help in the investigation.
Yeah, but what makes it even better, what we are putting is dashboard cameras on the vehicles, because that you would have seen it internationally, where the cameras now, it has a wider span, so it is much easier now for you to see it. And what we are doing is getting it fed in real time. So just about 40 of these vehicles have that. The unmarked vehicles obviously would not have it. But again, with body cameras, the body cameras, it is blurred, especially at night. So there are certain, there's a certain tender that I'm doing to ensure that we can have that capacity to assist us in those situations. But again, that speaks for itself. Look at where the vehicle was, look at where the individual was, and look at where the young lady was. You don't need body cameras for that. That it speaks for itself.
Commissioner Kyle Saunders from My95. Could you tell us if there's any correlation between the incident that took place in Smith Hill this morning with a house burning down to any relation to what happened in Carnage over the weekend?
No, I would be unable to advise that, to give you information on that. I wouldn't know. Until we launch a proper investigation to verify if there's any link.
Commissioner, I'm Joshua Simongal from TV6. Were illegal firearms recovered at the scene on Friday during the shootout in Carnage?
I'll have to verify. I think that there were two. I can't recall the type of firearms, but firearms were actually seized, were held at the scene, inclusive of the one, obviously, that was used to fire at the police officer with the spent shells.
And just to clarify, are you stating without doubt that you believe the persons in the area were responsible for the death of 14-year-old Naya?
No, I am asking the public to decide. I am just showing, yet again, where the police vehicle was. It came out of Western Main Road. It was heading north. Look at where it is the individual was at the corner. Look at where it is that individual was shooting at, and look at where the young lady was. Why would a police officer be confronted with fire facing north and fire south?
But are you concerned that perhaps, I'm not saying this is my opinion, but is there the possibility the officers could have taken alternate action to perhaps maybe avoid the circumstance.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So somebody is shooting at me, so I'll fire south. Yeah, I understand your point, yeah. So someone will be shooting at me in this direction, so I will shoot in the other direction.
You're not
I
understand
understand.
what I'm saying,
I do, that makes sense.
I'm sure police officers...
No, but that is logical.
Opinion,
but
I'm sure
your opinion is right. Someone is shooting at me in that direction, so I will turn and fire in the other direction. I understand your point.
Commissioner, can I finish, please?
Please.
Is there... What I'm saying is... Are you concerned that perhaps officers could have taken alternate action if the residents claimed there were multiple children in that alleyway, in that stretch of street, right? What took place was there was an exchange of fire, and ultimately a 14-year-old girl died. This is fact. I'm not arguing who is responsible.
Yes, you all are, because look at the front page of the Express. You said one shot. We know exactly what you are alluding to.
For the Express.
Tomato.
Do you believe an alternate action could have been taken? Perhaps they could have tried to stop the fire, the exchange.
Yes, no, agreed, yeah. Because if the person was shooting at the police officer, he should have done a matrix and spun around and then seized the weapon. You watch too many movies, so if someone is firing a gunshot at you and firing, the only thing you could do to save your life is to fire back. You watch too many Avengers movies. It doesn't work that way.
I'm not a fan of movies.
Well, it seems that you are. If someone is firing a shot at you, the only way you can save your life is to fire back, and that is minimum use of force.
I'm not expressing my opinion, I'm asking a question.
Well, I just gave you the answer.
All right, members of the media, we'll take one more question for the Commissioner of Police. If none, I wish to thank the Commissioner of Police at this point in time for his delivery.